Okay, so before we use After Effects, we have to separate each and every alphabet of this Google logo in Adobe Photoshop. Now I got this Google logo, which is in a PNG format, and now what I'm gonna do over here, I'm going to select my rectangle tool and I'm going to select this G. I'll hit Control X, I'll create a new layer and I'll press Control Shift V to paste in place. Double click and let's call it as G. Then I'm going to hide this. Same procedure I'm gonna do for this O as well. Hit Control X, new layer, Control Shift V, double click and let's call it as O, and let's hide this. Similarly, select this O as well, Control X, new layer, Control Shift V, double click, call it as O, and hide this. Again, select this G, Control X, new, Control Shift V, double click, let's call it as G, hide this. Select this L, hit Control X, new layer, Control Shift V, double click, and let's call it as L. Okay, and double click and let's call it as E. Okay, and let's save this file. Now we will go to Adobe After Effects and we will create a new composition. We are going to call it as main animation. Width is 1920, height is 180, frame rate just for now I'm going to choose 30 seconds. Duration you can choose whatever duration you want, and background color I'm going to choose white color and hit OK. Then I'm going to go in choose grid and guide option and I'll hit on title safe action. Then I'm going to press Ctrl I and I'm going to select my Photoshop file, import as footage. Instead of that, I'm going to choose composition, return layer sizes and simply hit import and hit OK. Double click to open this, select this Google logo, hit Ctrl C to copy, go to the main animation and hit Ctrl V. But as you guys can see, the size is too much. So simply right click new and create one null object. Simply select all of them by holding shift and make it apparent with this null object. Then select this null object and press S and let's make the scale 20 and or let's say 30. Yeah, 30 looks good to me. And let's delete this. Hit Control A and let's try to adjust the position of this all along somewhere around over here. Or let's try to bring this over the center. Okay, this position looks good to me, or if you want, you can be specific about it like that. Okay, now after that, I'm going to press Ctrl R to bring ruler and I'm going to bring this ruler over here just like this. Okay, now we need to animate this one by one. So let's hide this and select this G, go to the effect and not effect and presets but align tab, and let's choose align horizontally so it will automatically come over here. Now I'm going to select my pen tool over here and let's zoom in. Then let's move this just for now. Then from here to here I'm going to create one line and go to the stroke options. With the help of this picker I'm going to pick up this color and hit OK, and let's increase the stroke width to somewhere around, let's say 20. Okay, now let's select this and press Ctrl Alt Home to align that anchor point to the center. Go to the align tab and we are going to choose align horizontally. Press Y for pen behind tool and let's bring this anchor point over here like that. Okay, you can select this and press R and you can rotate it. We need to make sure that this is going to cover this G like that. Okay, so this looks good to me. Now let's select this, hit enter and let's call it as G line. Okay, now after that go to the add menu and we are going to choose trim path. Go to the trim path and we need to move this from here to here. So let's make this end value 0 to create one keyframe. Then go to around 1 second and let's make this value 100. Okay, like that, and let's move this over here. Then I'm going to select those keyframe and I'll hit F9. Then go to the graph editor, select this graph and by holding shift move one handle over here and move one handle over here. Okay, so we are gonna get this kind of stuff. Now after that somewhere around at this point, let's minimize this. I want this G should come out of this stroke, so let's select this G and with the help of open square bracket I'm going to move this over here. Press P for position to create one keyframe. Go few frame forward to create another keyframe. At the start I'm going to bring this downwards. Now we need one mask over here. So for that what I'm gonna do, I'm going to select my rectangle tool and I'm going to delete this stroke. I don't need that stroke. And for the fill I'm going to choose any color and let's create this kind of rectangle over here. And this rectangle is going to be mask, so hit enter and let's call it as G mask and hit OK. And we are going to make it apparent with this G line. And let's select this G mask at top of this G. Select this G and choose alpha mask or alpha mask like that. So if you see this now, we are gonna get something like this. Now select this G and let's hit F9. Go to the graph editor, select this graph by holding shift. I'm going to move this handle over here. So if you see, we are getting something like that. Then somewhere around at this point, I'm going to select this G line. I'll press R for rotation to create one keyframe. I'll go somewhere around over here and I'm going to rotate it like this. So let's make this -90 like that. Select those keyframe and hit F9. After that, go to the graph editor again. Select this, move this graph over here and move this graph over here like that. So we will get something like this. So if you see this now, first we will get this and then we'll get this. Now when this is going to get up over here, what I want is that this O should start to get revealed. So let's enable this O as well as this O. I'm going to select both of them and I'll go to the align tab and I'm going to choose align horizontally. And as you guys can see, all of them are coming over here, but we want them at the center. So let's move this over here. Now obviously this O should animate first. So with the help of open square bracket, I'm going to move this over here and I'll select this mask over here, which is G mask. I'll hit Control D and I'll bring over here and I'm going to select this O and choose alpha inverted mask. So you'll get something like that. Then select this G mask over here, hit enter, and this time I'm going to call it as O mask. Okay. So now if you see this animation over here, we will get this and then we'll get this. Now somewhere around at this point, I'm going to select this G line over here, press S, unlink this, create one keyframe, go somewhere around 3 seconds and let's bring this value, not this value, but this value somewhere around like this. Okay, over here. Yeah, I think this much looks good. Then select this and press P as well to create one keyframe. Hit U, go over here and let's bring this downward like this. Okay, and yeah, select those keyframe and let's hit F9. Then go to the graph editor, select this graph by holding shift, move this handle over here and let's move this handle over here like that. So we'll get something like this. Now after that, if you see, first we'll get this and then we'll get this. Now when all of this is happening, what I want is that this O, which is if you bring this at the top over here, this we need certain animation for this O as well. So I'm going to select this O and let's bring this over here and let's hide this just for now, or before that we need to select our O over here and by holding shift I'm going to create one. Let's select this and press Ctrl Alt Home. Go to the align tab and choose align horizontally. Then press P for position. Let's go to the fit and let's bring this over here. Create one keyframe. Go few frame forward and let's try to bring this over here like that. Okay, and then we need this to be gone. So for that, what I'm gonna do, I'm going to select this, hit enter, and let's call it as O drop. After that, select this position, right click and choose let's say separate dimension. Okay, like that. Then after all of this, when this is coming near this O, let's bring this properly over here. Then go few frame forward. We need to bring this from here to here like that. And then we need to bring this downward like this, totally out of this composition like that. And in middle of that, I'm going to bring this Y position somewhere around over here. Okay, we will get something like this. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm going to select this Y position keyframe and let's hit F9. uh, Hit F9 over here. Go to the graph editor, select this graph by holding shift, move this handle over here and move this handle over here. Select this, move this handle over here and move this handle over here. Select this, move this handle over here. Select this and move this handle over here. Okay, so if you see this now, we'll get something like this. And when this ball is going to touch this O, I want this O should be start to appear. So I'm going to bring this over here and select this O mask and this O and hold Alt, close square bracket to trim up to this. Okay, so now it will look like that because of this they are changing color. So if you see this now, we will get this, then this, and then this. Now after that, what we want over here is that this G should start to appear. So enable this G and let's bring this at the top over here. Similarly, we have this G line, we need to bring this at the top as well. Okay, like that. Even if you see, we will get same animation over here like this. After that, somewhere around at this point, I want another thing over here. So let's try to do it. I am going to select this G line, press P for position to create one keyframe, go few frame forward, and let's bring this line from here to here like that. But if you see, we are getting this kind of trouble. So what we can do over here, I'm going to select this G line somewhere around at this point when this animation is ending over here, and I'm going to press Ctrl Shift D to split this line, and this time hit enter and let's call it as small G line. Okay, now select this and hit U this time, and we need to delete all the keyframe, position, scale, rotation, similarly this one as well. And this time I'm going to select this line and I'll press Ctrl Alt Home so that the anchor point is automatically gonna come at the center like that. Then after that, I'm going to select this G line and press P for position to create one keyframe. Go to around 4 seconds and we are going to bring this from here to here like that, and select those keyframe and we will hit F9. So we will get something like this. Now at this point, I want this G should start to appear. So let's see this animation first. This, and I think this animation is starting a little bit early. So let's bring this over here. Similarly, select this line and let's bring this over here like that. Okay, then I'm going to select this G line and go to the graph editor, select this graph by holding shift, move one handle over here and move one handle over here. So we will get a little bit of depth or in, or what we can say, ease in, ease out. Then select this G and bring this at the center like that. Now we need mask over here. So for that, I'm going to select this rectangle tool and I'm going to create this mask. Let's select this, hit enter and let's call it as G mask. And let's try to bring this on just G over here, which is G. And with the help of open square bracket, I'm going to select this too and move this over here and choose alpha inverted mask and select this G mask and make it apparent with this upper G line. So we'll get something like this. Now, because of this G mask, we need this O should disappear. So select this G mask and hit Ctrl D, hit enter and let's call it as O mask now. And bring this at the top of this O, which is the yellow one. And over here, we are going to choose alpha mask. Okay, so you'll get something like this. And make sure to select this O, hit I, and we need to bring this mask up to this point. Then only we can see this transition like that. Okay, over here. Then we all be left with this L. So let's select this L. Let's bring this at the top and let's go to the align tab and we will move this over here and we will try to bring this over here like that. Then what I want is that this G should be getting converted into this L over here. So for that, what we can do over here is that select this G line and press P for position to create one keyframe. Then in search option, you can type stroke as well, stroke width, create one keyframe. Similarly, you can type fill, go to the fill option and create one keyframe at color and hit U. Then I'm gonna go somewhere around at 6 seconds. And now simply select this G line, go to the align tab and choose align horizontally like that. Then we need to bring this stroke width to be parallel with this L. Then we need to change the color of this one to yellow like that. But before all of this, we have to make sure that when this animation is starting, I'm going to select this G line and I'll press Ctrl Shift D to duplicate it. And let's bring this at the top and let's hit enter and let's call it as L line. Okay, and hit U. We need to delete these keyframes, we don't need that, so we can focus on this one, so it will automatically come over here. Okay, like that. Let's select this over here, select those keyframe, and let's hit F9. Okay, I did one mistake over here. The color positions are wrong, so let's delete those color keyframes. Actually, I have applied the color keyframes on the fill. We need to apply this on the stroke, so create one keyframe over here, go at this point, and let's change the color of this one to this, and hit F9. Sorry, hit F9, and at this point it should be at the center. Similarly, at the start, I'll press S, create one keyframe, hit U, go over here, zoom in, and I'm going to adjust the scale on this axis to somewhere up to this. Okay, select those keyframe and let's hit F9. Okay, now after that, I'm going to delete this L. We don't need that, so let's delete this L like that. Okay, hit U like that. Okay, but as you guys can see, this animation looks weird. So what we can do over here is that we need to move this G. So I'm going to select this, and let's hit F9 and go to the graph editor, and let's go inside this. Let's select this graph. I mean, let's select this, and at this point I'm going to select this position keyframe, hit Control C, Control V over here like that. Then select those keyframe and let's hit F9. Go to the graph editor, select this graph by holding shift, move one handle over here and move one handle over here. So we will get something like this. Now at this point, I want this G should be gone. So for that, I'm going to select this G mask, and I'll press P for position, create one keyframe, go somewhere around over here, and I'm going to move this from here to here, select those keyframe and hit F9 like this. And if you want, you can move this little bit and move this from here to here as well, like this. Okay, so it will go a little bit like this. So now if you see this animation from the start, if you hit U to minimize all of this, first I'll get this, then I'll get this, then I'll get this, and then I'm gonna get this. Now all we remain is this E, so for that I'm going to bring this E at the top like that. And I want the bouncing animation over here. So for that, what we can do over here is that we can do something like, let's select this, press P, right click and choose separate dimension. And I want this animation should start somewhere around from 4 seconds, but we will try to animate this from here. So go to 6 second and move this over here. Let's select this first and go to the align tab to bring this over here. Create one keyframe at X and one keyframe at Y. Then go somewhere around 9 second. Again create another keyframe. Go to the start and let's bring this X position over here. Create one keyframe at Y at this point and one keyframe at Y at this point. In the middle, let's bring this over here like that. Similarly over here, Control C, Control V this keyframe. In the middle, Control C, Control V. Select those keyframe, hit F9, go to the graph editor, zoom in. Select this graph by holding shift, move this handle over here and move this handle over here. Move this handle over here, select this and move this handle over here. Select this, move this handle over here. Move this handle over here. This handle over here and move this handle over here. Select this, move this handle over here and this handle over here. This should be over here as well as this should be over here. Okay, so we are getting something like that. Similarly, press R for rotation to create one keyframe and hit U. then go somewhere around over here, and we have to rotate it like that. So let's make this -3. Okay, so we are gonna get this kind of animation, but I want this animation should start and get over somewhere around at this point. So let's bring this over here like that. So if you see this now, we'll get this, 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 and then this. Or let's move this a little bit over here. Okay, there should be sign for this L. And when this is gonna come over here, somewhere around at that point, I'm going to select this L, but I cannot move this like that. So I'm going to select this L and I'll press Ctrl Shift D to split this layer, hit U, and I'm going to delete all those keyframes. We don't need that. I'm going to select this and I'll press Y for pen behind tool, and by holding Ctrl, I'm going to bring this anchor point downwards. I'll create one keyframe at S and hit U, hit U, hit page down button 2 to 3 times to go over here, and let's make this 0 value on this axis. Okay, like that. And let's try to bring this E downwards somewhere around over here. Select those keyframe and let's hit F9. Okay, like that. Now after that, let's go and see this animation. First I'll get this, this, then this. Now after that, so hit U, select this E, press P for position, create one keyframe at X, go few frame forward, and let's move this over here. And select those Y position keyframes, hit F9, go to the graph, select this by holding shift, move this handle over here, like that. Now let's press F4, select all of them and enable the motion blur. Hit Ctrl K, and I'm going to choose frame rate to somewhere around 55.94. And now let's play this animation. I'll get this, like that, and then this, and hit N over here. So now as you guys can see, we are gonna get this Google logo animation, which is in a, you can say, quite in a creative way, and it is going to be in a form of loop. Okay, now select all of them and press Ctrl Shift C, and I'm going to call it as animation, and hit OK, and press Ctrl Y to create one solid background and bring this downwards. Select this layer, go to the effect and presets panel and search for drop shadow effect and double click to apply. Increase the distance to 40, softness to 500, and color, we will pick up this blue color. Okay, like that. Or let's make this softness to 300 and distance to 20, like that. And color, not complete blue but somewhere around like this blue. Okay, so we are gonna get this kind of stuff. Then let's make this opacity to 25. Select this, right click, layer styles, and we are going to choose bevel and emboss. Go to the bevel and emboss, and let's increase the softness as well as size. And over here, let's decrease the opacity. Hit U. Okay, and now we are going to see this animation. First I'll get this, and then I'll get this. Okay, it will take a little bit time to load after adding this effect because this effect is quite heavy, but let's see. And we will get something like this. And here you go, our final animation is ready, and you can play around with this kind of animation with any logo. Okay, this is quite a fun way to create this kind of looping logo animations. Okay, so here we are in Adobe After Effects. Let's create a new composition and we will call it as main animation, as always we do. Width is 1920, height is 180, frame rate currently we will choose 30 seconds, and background color should be black color, and simply hit OK. Then choose grid and guide option and simply hit on title section. Then I have Nike logo over here. You can choose any logo you want, but right now it is in black PNG logo. So I'll go to the effect and presets panel and I'll search for fill effect and I'll double click to apply, and I'm going to choose white color for this, and I'll press S for scaling option and I'll make this scale somewhere around 70. Now let's select this and press Ctrl Shift C to pre-compose, and we will choose move all attributes into new composition, and we are going to call it as 01 Nike. Okay, and simply hit enter. Let's go inside this, and over here we are going to animate this. So let's select this, press P for position, and let's move this over here. Then press S, create one keyframe. Press P, create another keyframe, and hit U so you can see both the keyframes. Then go to around 20 or let's say 1 second, and let's select this and type your original position, which is 960, and we will type scaling keyframe as well to create one keyframe. Then go to the start and let's make this scale 0. Then we will go to around 2 seconds, and I'm going to move this from here to here, and let's make this scale 0. Then after this animation, as you guys can see, we are getting something like that. I'm going to select this keyframe and I'm going to hit F9. I'll go to the Adobe, not Adobe After Effects, sorry. I'll go to the graph editor. I'll select this graph by holding shift. Let's move this handle over here and move this handle over here. Similarly, select this, move this handle over here, select this and move this handle over here. So we will get something like this. Okay, like that. I think this looks good to me. Or you can select this, and if you hit F9 over here, you will get this normal animations like that. Okay, so it's totally up to you. I'm going to select this. I'll bring not too much, but only somewhere around like this only. So I'll get something like this. Now let's select this, and by holding Alt, I'm going to move this duration up to 1.10 frames around like this. So I'll get this kind of animation. I'm going to select this animation and move to somewhere around 1 second. Okay, so we will get this kind of animation. If you want, you can increase the animation later as well. Now let's go to the main animation over here, and I'll press Ctrl Y to create one, let's say somewhere around black background over here. Then I'm going to select this black solid. I'll press Ctrl Shift C to pre-compose this, and I'm going to call it as map and hit OK. Double click to open this, and over here I'm going to select my rectangle tool and I'm going to delete this stroke. I don't need that stroke, and for the fill I'm going to choose white color and simply create this kind of rectangle. Now select this and press Ctrl Alt Home. Go to the align tab, align it horizontally and then align it vertically. Then right click new and create one adjustment layer. Go to the effect and presets panel and search for mosaic effect and double click to apply. So as you guys can see, we are getting a little bit stuff over here, but what we will do, I'm going to select this shape layer and I'm gonna go in effect and presets panel and I'll search for Gaussian blur effect and double click to apply, and we will increase the blurriness value so we will get more stuff. I'm going to make this blurriness somewhere around 400. Then select this adjustment layer. Let's choose horizontal block 30 as well as vertical block 30. So we will get this kind of stuff, or let's say 20 or something. I think this looks good to me. Now let's go to the main animation. Let's hide this map. Select this Nike composition and apply time displacement effect and double click to apply. And we are going to choose this map over here. And now if I see this animation over here, I'm gonna get this kind of stuff. Okay, like this. If I select this, let's go somewhere around this point, somewhere around over here. Let's select this, hit Control D, and let's try to move this over. As you guys can see, we can get this animation again and again. So let's hit Control 0 to open the project settings. Select this 01 Nike and hit Control D to duplicate. Double click to open this. And at this point, what I'm gonna do, I'll go somewhere around over here in the middle, and I'm going to delete this last keyframe. I don't need that. Now let's do first thing first. We need some animations over here. So I know that my animation is basically starting from this point over here, somewhere around 20 frame, let's say. So let's select this, hold Alt to open square bracket to trim up to this, Alt and open square bracket, and then go to the start, and with the help of simple open square bracket, I'll bring this over here. So I'll get this animation somewhere around at this point. Okay, like this. Now I'm going to select this. I'll hit Control D to duplicate it. I'll hit page down button 2 to 3 times, and with the help of open square bracket, I'll move this over here. Again hit Control D, again 3 times, move this over here. Again hit Control D, again 3 times, and let's move this over here. So we are gonna get something like this. Now let's go to the fifth layer. Go to the effect and presets panel and search for fill effect and double click to apply, and apply fill red color. Select fourth, choose green color like this. Then select this color over here, apply fill effect and choose blue color like this over here. So if you see this now, we are getting something like that. Select this, apply fill effect and choose black color over here. Then I'm going to select this layer. I'll hit Control D and let's choose white color. And after that, I'm going to apply find edge effect and double click to apply and choose invert. And let's bring this a little bit over here like that. So if you see this now, we will get something like this. And then I'll hit Control 0. I'm going to select this Nike logo, hit Control D, select this Nike 2, and by holding Alt, I'm going to replace it over here. So if you see this now, we will get something like this, and bring this Nike 2 somewhere in the middle of these two like that. Okay, then select this Nike 2, hit Control D, go to the effect and presets and delete this find edge effect like this. So now if you see this animation, we are gonna get something like this over here. Okay, now you can go to this Nike or Nike over here, and if you want, you can select those and you can bring this position a little bit over here, so you will get some animation extra, and you can move this similarly over here. Okay, so we will get some more time for animation. And if you see this animation now, we will get something like this over here. Okay, like that. Now all after all of this, press Ctrl Y to create one black background, and let's bring this downwards like this. Now select all the logos including this map and press Ctrl Shift C, and we will call it as logo animation and hit OK. Then hit Ctrl D, press S, unlink this, and let's make this -100. Press P for position and let's bring down the position downwards. Then press S, unlink this, link this, and let's not link this, but try to adjust this value to somewhere around -60, and press P for position, and let's try to bring this over here like that. Then I'm going to select this. I'll go to the rectangle tool and I'm going to create this kind of mask. Then go to the mask and let's increase the mask feather somewhere around like this. Then press T for opacity and let's make the opacity to 30. So if you see this now, we will get this kind of reflection. Now after that, right click new and create one null object. Select both the layers and make it a parent with this null. Select this null, press P for position, alt click on the stopwatch and apply wiggle 3,3, and we will get this kind of little bit wiggle animation over here. Then you can right click new and apply one adjustment layer, and you can go to the effect and presets panel and you can search for glow effect, and then increase the glow threshold to 90, glow radius to somewhere around 120, and glow intensity to 0.2. Okay, so now if you're gonna see, we will get something like this. If you want, you can go inside this logo animation, you can select this last logos, press F4, and you can choose blending mode to somewhere around screen. Okay, like that. Okay, so you will get proper this kind of effect. Okay, and now if you see, this is a proper logo animation. But if you want to give this animation a kind of a retro look, let's say, what you can do, let's go to around 4 seconds and hit N. If you see this animation, we will get something like this. If you want to give this animation a little bit retro look, what you can do, select this black color background, press Ctrl Shift Y to open the project setting, solid settings, and instead of black, let's choose a little bit of grayish color. Okay, and then go to the effect and presets panel and search for CC vintage effect and double click to apply. After that, right click new and create one adjustment layer a little bit more and apply posterize dime effect and double click to apply, and you can give this frame rate up to 15. Okay, so what will happen now? We will get this animation like it is running in a 15 frames per second, like that. After that, on the same layer, you can apply another effect called noise. So what will happen that it will add a little bit noise in our animation. So let's apply this noise effect a little bit and increase a little bit noise amount somewhere around, let's say, 10. And let's go to the start and play this animation like this. I think the 10 is very less, so let's make this 25. Go to the start and let's hit play. So as you guys can see, we are getting this kind of effect. Okay, so this is how you can give this animation a retro look as well. Now it's totally up to you. You can choose whatever you want. I'll go with this animation, but this looks quite good to me. So here we are in Adobe After Effects. Let's create a new composition and we are going to call it as main animation. Width is 1920, height is 180, frame rate I'm going to choose 30 seconds, and background color I'm going to choose white color and simply hit OK and hit OK. Then go to choose grid and guide option and simply hit on title save action. Now I'm going to select my ellipse and I don't want any stroke, so I'll delete the stroke. And for the color I'm going to choose black color, and by holding shift I'm going to create one ellipse. Now let's select this ellipse and press Ctrl Alt Home to align that anchor point to the center. Go to the align tab, align it horizontally and then align it vertically. Now press P for position, select this, right click and choose separate dimensions, and let's create one keyframe at Y. Then we will go somewhere around downwards like this. Then we'll go to around 20 frame and let's make this value again somewhere around 500, and press V and let's try to bring this over here like that. Sorry, let's align it properly. Let's bring this over here, then go somewhere around over here, and let's bring this in the middle. So click on this icon. So let's select those keyframe and let's hit F9. Go to the graph, select this graph. By holding shift, move this handle over here and move this handle over here. Select this, move this handle over here, select this and move this handle over here. So now it will give a look like a bouncing animation. Now select these keyframes and by holding Alt I'm going to bring this up to 25 frames. So we will get something like this, and when this point is gonna come over here, I'm going to select this layer and I'll hit Ctrl D to duplicate it. And let's select this first layer and change the color to yellow. Select this layer and let's delete the keyframe. Now in search option, let's search for size and create one keyframe and hit U. Now let's select this and this time I'm going to delete the fill, I don't need. And for the stroke, choose black color and simply hit OK, and let's increase the size of the stroke somewhere around like this. Let's enable this. Okay, let's make this value 200. Let's minimize this. Okay, now let's if you see, we are getting this point over here. Now let's select this and hold Alt and open square bracket, and initially size I'm going to choose 0. Then I'll go somewhere around 20 frames and let's increase the size of this to somewhere around like this. Let's select this one and choose red color just for now. Sorry, select this and let's increase the size. Now let's select this value again and hit Ctrl D, select this one and change the color of this one to a little bit grayish color, just for our understanding that this is a different layer. And let's move this over here, select this, hit Ctrl D, select this and let's increase the size of this one again and let's choose black color like this. Select this, hit Ctrl D, select this, let's choose grayish color again just for our understanding, something like this. Select this, hit Ctrl D, select this last layer, choose black color again and increase the size like this over here. Okay, I think this much looks good. Hit U, and now if you see, we'll get this and we'll get this. Now let's select those keyframe and let's hit F9. Go to the graph editor, select this graph. By holding shift, move this handle over here like this. Okay, over here. Then zoom in, zoom out, and let's bring this last keyframe somewhere around 2.10, like this. Okay, now as you guys can see, it looks like this is happening a little bit late, so let's try to bring those somewhere around over here. Or you can select those keyframe, you can go to the graph editor, select this, and by holding shift we need to bring this over here so it will act a little bit faster. Then we need to take a gap between these portions, but we'll do that later. After completing this animation, we need a trim path animation between these, so let's select this uppermost one and go to the add menu, and we are going to choose trim path. Then go to the trim path, and we can, as you guys can see, we can end this animation like this. So let's create one keyframe, then go to around 4 seconds, and let's make this value 0 or somewhere around, let's say 1. Okay, not 0 but 1, and select those keyframe, and let's hit F9. Then go to the graph editor, select this graph, by holding shift move one handle over here and move one handle over here. So if you see, we will get something like this. Okay, now what we need to do over here, we need to select this trim path. We will hit Ctrl C and make sure that during copying this trim path, you need to be on the this keyframe over here. So copy this trim path by hitting Ctrl C, and let's hit U. Select all the other layers and hit Ctrl V to apply that trim path, and hit U. So as you guys can see, we are getting this animation. Okay, so if you see this now, first we'll get this, and then we will get this. Now let's select those trim path last keyframes and try to bring them a little bit closer, like this. And then somewhere around at this point over here, I'm going to press S. Let's create one keyframe, then go over here and let's make this value 0. And now select those keyframe, and let's hit F9. Go to the start, go to the keyframe, select this, zoom in a little bit. By holding shift, move this handle over here, select this, and move this handle over here. So we will get something like this. Or you can bring this a little bit over here. Okay, over here. Or you can select those keyframe, hit F9, go to the graph, select this graph. By holding shift, move one handle over here and move one handle over here, like this. Okay, now if you see this animation, first we will get this, then we will get this, and then we will get this. Okay, let's increase the duration of this animation. So select those keyframe, let's bring them at the start, so it will try to scale down a little bit early, and it should be over here. Now what I'm gonna do over here is that I'm going to select this topmost layer over here, and let's choose the grayish color over here, like this, and select those alternate layers over here, and let's choose white color over here. So if you see, first we'll get this, and now this animation should be one by one. So I'm going to take a distance somewhere around over here, like this, like this, and like this. Okay, so if you see, we are getting something like this. Let's hit U. Okay, now we need to apply some drop shadow effect. So select this topmost layer first, and select this layer, go to the effect and presets panel and search for drop shadow effect, and double click to apply, and let's increase the softness to somewhere around like this. Then select this drop shadow effect by hitting Ctrl C, select all the remaining layers and hit Ctrl V. So now if you see this, we are gonna get this kind of animation over here, like that. Okay, so let's see, first we'll get this, and then we'll get this. Now let's select this topmost layer, and let's choose a little bit darker version of this color, like this, and we'll get something like this. Then I'm going to select this layer, I'll hit Ctrl D to duplicate it, and I'm going to change this color to white and press S, and let's decrease the scale a little bit, like this, and apply this drop shadow effect over here and increase the softness. So if you see, we are getting something like this. And let's hit page down button few times and select this white color, and let's try to bring this over here. Okay, so if you see, we are getting something like this, and then this, and then this. Okay, and when this last one is gonna come over here, I want there should be some sparking type animation over here should be happening. So let's select this shape layer, hit Ctrl D to duplicate it, hit U, and let's delete all of this, and let's try to bring this over here and change the color of this one to black. Press S, initial scale should be 0, create one keyframe, then as it goes further, increase the size of this, select those keyframe, hit F9, go to the graph editor, select this graph by holding shift, move this handle over here, then select this, hit Ctrl D, move this over here and change the color of this one to white. Okay, so first we will get this, then we will get this. Okay, now between these there should be some additional animations needs to happen. So press Ctrl N and we are going to call it as line animation. So hit OK. Then for that I'm going to select my pen tool. From here to here I'm going to create one line with the black color and stroke width to 10 pixels, and fill I'm going to delete it. Then go to the add menu and choose trim path. Go to the trim path, initial end value should be 0, so create one keyframe at start and one keyframe at end. Then go somewhere around 1.20 frame. Let's make this value 100 as well as this value 100. Okay, select those starting keyframe and let's move this over here. So we'll get something like this. Now let's try to adjust it over here. Select those keyframe and by holding alt I'm going to bring this over here, and let's hit F9. Then go to the graph editor, select this graph, by holding shift move this handle over here and move this handle over here. So we will get something like this. Now we need another copies of this, so hit U, select this, hit Ctrl D, press R, and let's make this not 60 but 90-degree rotation. Again hit Ctrl D, press R, let's make this 180, hit Ctrl D, press R, and let's make this 270. So if you see, we are getting something like this. Then so select all of this and let's press V for selection, and let's make this stroke width to 4. Select all of this, hit Ctrl D, let's bring them at the top, and this time I'm going to make stroke width 10. Then right click, new, and create one null object. Select the top 4 layers and make it apparent with this null. Select this null, press R for rotation, and let's make this 45-degree rotation. So if you see, we are getting something like this. Now I'm going to select this topmost layer and I'm going to move this up to 10 frames like that. Okay, like this. Then you can select this, press S, and you can make this 200 as well. So if you see this, now we are getting something like this. Now select all of these layers and in search option search for cap, and now all the butt cap I'm going to choose to round cap. Okay, so make sure to choose round cap for each and every one. Okay, so we are gonna get proper like this animation. Hit U. If you want, you can bring this up to 5 frames as well. Okay, like that. And I think the stroke weight over here is too much, so let's do one thing, make this 1 only, not too much, or even less than that, like 0.5 or something. Okay, like this. Okay, this looks good to me. Let's go to the main animation, and then when this animation is happening, I want that line animation should appear. So let's try to bring this over here, this line animation, and it should be behind this first. Okay, at this point. Okay, when this animation goes and when this animation arrives, I'll select this line animation and I'll try to bring this over here, and I'll bring this over here as well, and this animation should start somewhere around at this point. Okay, at this point. Okay, and just in case it's very slow, simply right click time and choose time stretch, and let's choose 80. Okay, like that, so it will automatically become faster. So first this and then this. Okay, and then over here you can put your logo. So right now I'm just putting your logo text, but you can add your logo. So if you see this properly, this is a very basic animation for beginners. Okay, let's increase the size of this one. Then at this point try to bring your logo, so press P, or you can press S for scaling. Create one keyframe, go few frame forward, create another keyframe, and go to the start. Let's make this 0 and choose F9. Go to the graph editor, select this graph. By holding shift, move one handle over here like this. Okay, and try to adjust it over here. Okay, so if you see, we'll get this, and we'll get this. Okay, like that. Then press Ctrl Y to create one solid background and bring this over here like this. So after all of this, as you guys can see, just with the help of simple shape layers, you can create this kind of logo for your channel. Here we are in Adobe After Effects. First thing first, let's create a new composition, and we are going to call it as main animation. Width we are going to choose 1920, height 180, frame rate 30, and duration we are going to choose 1 minute long. Background color, let's choose white color and simply hit OK and hit OK. Then go to choose grid and guide option and simply hit on title selection. Then I have this shoe PNG image over here. You can easily get this kind of images from Google or even from Nike websites. I'm gonna pick up with this one. Now I'm going to select this image and I'll press Y for pen behind tool, and I'll make sure that the anchor point should be at the center. Then press S for scaling option and let's scale it like this. Hit W and let's rotate it like this, and press V and let's try to bring this over here. Now press Y and let's try to adjust the anchor point over here. Now only at that this time only we are going to create one background kind of stuff. So for that I'm going to select my ellipse tool, and for the color we are going to pick up this color from the logo itself, I mean from shoe, and hit OK. And we don't need any stroke, so I'll delete this stroke, and by holding shift I'm going to create a very small tiny dot kind of structure over here. You can go to the ellipse path and try to make them like 8 and 8 would be nicer, and if you want then you can minimize it later. Now after that, go to the add menu and we are going to choose a repeater. Go to the repeater, go to the transform repeater, and let's decrease the scales, not scale but position up to 15, and let's make this fit, and let's increase the number of copies somewhere around like this and minimize. Select this repeater one and hit Ctrl D. Go to the repeater 2, transform repeater 2. Let's make this position 0 and let's increase this value from here like that. Okay, and now after that go to the ellipse path and let's make this value 4 like this, or even 3, and let's decrease the copies like that. Also from here to here let's increase the copies, or I mean distance, and also distance from here like this. Okay, let's minimize this and press P, and let's try to move this over here like that. Okay, you can press P and try to adjust this position over here. Similarly, select this, hit Ctrl D, press P, and let's try to bring this over here, and let's try to bring this somewhere around over here like that. Now hit U. After that I'm gonna go and choose ellipse, and let's delete this fill, we don't need that fill. And for the stroke over here we are going to select this orangey kind of color, and by holding shift let's create one ellipse, and let's decrease the stroke size of this. Now let's select this and let's try to move this somewhere around over here, and press Ctrl Alt Home. Then go to the add menu and we are going to choose trim path. go to the trim path and let's decrease this value somewhere around like this. Now similarly select this, hit Ctrl D. Let's try to move this over here, hit W, and let's rotate it like this. Okay, like this. Okay, and now I'm going to select this one, hit Ctrl D, and let's choose white color for this stroke, and let's decrease the stroke value somewhere around like this. Okay, over here. So this looks something like this. Now over here I'm going to select this portion, I'll press T, and let's make this opacity to 40 like that. Now what we are going to do over here, let's animate this stuff. First of all, we need to animate this stroke as well as this one. Let's select both of them over here. um, let's go to the start, press R for rotation to create one keyframe, go to around 10 frames, and let's try to rotate it in this way like this. Okay, and initially it should be over here, so we are gonna get this kind of rotation. Similarly, I'm going to select this one, press R for rotation, create one keyframe, go over here, and let's rotate it this way. Okay, so we are getting this continuous rotation. Then select these two portions and press P for position to create one keyframe. Then go to around 10 frames, select this, and let's try to move this over here. Select this and let's try to move this over here like that. Okay, so we are getting this continuous animation. Now after that, what we need to do, we will right click new and create one adjustment layer. Go to the effect and presets panel, and I'm going to search for magnify effect in distorts and double click to apply. So we are getting this kind of effect, and let's try to move this somewhere around at the bottom of this, and let's try to increase the size of this somewhere around over here like that. Then select this adjustment layer, hit Ctrl D, and select this center, and let's try to move this somewhere around at this point. Okay, so these two things are ready. Now we need to animate our shoe. So let's select this shoe, press P for position to create one keyframe, then press R to create another keyframe, then press S to create another keyframes, and hit U. Then we will go to somewhere around 1 second and we will create keyframe on all of that. Then go to the start and let's rotate it like this, and let's go and move this portion over here like that, and bring this at the top. Okay, so if you see this now, we are gonna get this kind of animation. Let's select those keyframe and let's hit F9. Go to the graph editor, select this graph, and by holding shift move this downwards, so we will get something like this. And then take a 10 frames gap, press S for scaling option, create one keyframe, go to around 2.10 frames, and let's make this value 50 over here, or even 45 like this, and select those keyframe, and we will hit F9. Okay, now go to the start, let's select this and hit Ctrl D, select this fourth layer and change the color of this one to yellow, and hit U, and we are going to remove all the previous keyframes for this layer, and simply hit delete, zoom in, and hold Alt open square bracket to trim up to this. Now along with that, I'm gonna go, I don't need any keyframe on position, so I'll delete the keyframe on position. Similarly, scale keyframes, I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to select this layer and I'm going to make it a parent with this third layer, which is this one. Then I'm going to press R for rotation only to create one keyframe. Select this layer, hit U. Okay, so now we will click U so we can reveal this keyframe. Then we will select this, and we have already made it parent, so obviously it will scale down the way this position is going to scale down. I mean this PNG image. Now we need to rotate it like this over here. Along with that, I'll go over here and I'll press S to create one keyframe, hit U, and go over here, and I'm going to make this value 110 to increase the scale little bit, and let's make this -10. Then I'm going to select these keyframes and I'm going to hit F9 over here. Now for this layer, we don't need any keyframe over here and over here for the rotation, so let's keep it as it is. Select this layer, hit Ctrl D to duplicate, select this, and let's make this -20, and let's make this 120 like this. Select this, hit Ctrl D, we need to do this procedure again. Make this 130 and let's make this minus 30. So basically we are adjusting the rotation. If you want, you can rotate it a little bit more. So we will do one thing, we will make this minus 20, but if you see minus 20, it's too much, so let's keep it as it is only. Select this, hit Control D, select this layer, let's make this 140, let's make this minus 40, select this, hit Control D, select this 150, minus 50, hit Control D, let's make this 160, let's make this minus 60. Okay, sorry, 160. So basically, as you guys can see, we are increasing these factors with 10 units. So let's do this in couple of times. Okay, so I did this up to 300 and minus 200. Okay, and let's hit U so you can see all the keyframes. And if you see this animation, we are getting this kind of animation, which is quite awesome, like that, but it looks very fat. So let's make this quarters. So first we have this animation and then this animation. Now I'm going to select those keyframes till this one, and we are going to first hit F9. Then we'll go to the graph editor. We will select this, right click and make sure that you are in a speed graph. As you guys can see, there are two mini graphs, so simply select this and by holding shift move one handle over here, and we are going to move one handle over here like this. Okay, so now if you see this animation, we'll get something like this. Okay, first this and then this. But if you see over here that animation, it's taking a gap because of this keyframes. So let's select this and let's move this a little bit over here, so the gap between this animation will be less, so we'll get something like this. Okay, then after that what we can do over here is that I'm going to select all of this uh, except this background elements. Select all of this and press Ctrl Shift C to pre-compose, and I'm going to call it as shoe. Hit OK like that, and let's try to bring this downwards, not up to this but this up to or let's say this, or I think let's go bring this at the top only. We are going to select this dot elements, which is this one, and let's try to bring this top of the shoe. Similarly this ones, and try to bring this top of the shoe. Similarly this white stroke, I'm not this one but this one, which is a white stroke, I'm going to try to bring top of that shoe. So we are gonna get a little bit something like this. Okay, and now let's go inside the shoe over here, and I'm going to select this first layer. I'm gonna go in draw effect and presets panel, and I'll search for drop shadow effect and double click to apply, and increase the softness to 400 and distance to 0 like this, and opacity to 25 over here. Then let's go to the start, and now we are going to create a keyframe on opacity. So create one keyframe on opacity, hit U, zoom in. Let's go to take a gap of 20 frames, create another keyframe, go to the start, and let's make this value 0. So there is going to be the keyframe on opacity. Let's bring this over here and hit F9. Then select this drop shadow effect, hit Control C, select all the layers, and we are going to hit Control V. So if you see this now, let's make this quarter resolution, and if you see, we are getting this kind of effect over here. So first we'll get this and we will get this, but as you guys can see, we are getting this kind of effect. So to avoid that, let's do one thing, hit Control Z over here, and we are not going to apply that drop shadow effect on each and every one. So let's select this effect over here, hit Control C, and we are going to apply it on last layer only, as well as this first layer. So hit Control V on that. So it would be easy for us to not to apply that effect on each and every layer like that, because this looks good to me. Okay, so let's make this quarter resolution. So first thing first, this, and then there should be some wiggly effect for this. So let's select this shoe, go to the effect and presets panel and search for wiggle position effect. So what will happen is that we are gonna get something like this. Let's enable this icon. Okay, so along with this, this shoe is not static. Okay, so we'll get something like this. Now there should be a little bit of scaling element in this animation, so right click, new, and create one null object. Let's bring that null object at the top. Select all of these layers and make it apparent with this null object. So select this null object, press S. Initially scale should be 120 and create one keyframe. And as this animation goes further, somewhere around over here, up to 3 seconds, I'm going to make this value up to 100 like this. Okay, first thing, then this. Now we need to use our animation composer. So let's go to the Windows and choose animation composer. Make sure that you have installed this plugin. This plugin is free. You can get this plugin from mrhouse.com. You can check it out, the link in the description. Go to the pre-compose options, and in filmmaker transitions, over here there are some camera transitions. Over here we have this camera flip 360. Simply double click to apply, and we will get this. Okay, so now if you see and if you hit play, we will go and we'll get this animation. And let's try to bring this over here up to 3, and let's bring this cut up to this. Okay, so during this portion, what we are going to do at this point, I'm going to select the shoe and I'll press Ctrl Shift D to split this layer and delete it. Then hit Ctrl 0 and we have this Nike logo over here. I'm going to bring this logo. Let's bring this at the top first, and let's determine the size of that logo, and it should be over here like that. And let's go to the start, and let's make this full resolution. Go to the effect and presets panel and search for fill effect. Over here, search for fill and double click to apply. And for the color, I'm going to pick up something like this, or you can choose grayish version, not completely black color. Okay, and hit OK. Then go over here and let's move this Nike logo over here. And initially scale, I'm going to increase it. Let's create one keyframe, and as this goes further, somewhere around 5 seconds, I'm going to reduce the size of this logo like this, and select, let's make this 70, and select those keyframe and hit F9. Go to the graph editor, and let's go to the start, and let's make this value 110, or let's make this 130. And then go to the graph, select this graph, shift hold, move this handle over here and this handle over here. Let's make this full, not full but quarter resolution, so we are getting this kind of transition. Let's try to bring this a little bit more closer like this, and now bring this layer after the camera transition like this. Okay, so if you see this now, first we'll get this, then we'll get this, and then we will get this. Okay, let's try to bring this a little bit over here. Okay, now over here what we can do over, let's go and make this full resolution. Now instead of this orange colors, if you see, there is a little bit of bluish element is also involved in our logo. So let's try to use that. I'm going to pick up this blue color portion over here, and let's keep this orange portion over here like that. Okay, and then after this we are gonna get this transition over here like that. And if you want, you can at this point select all of this and hold Alt, open square bracket to trim all the elements up to this over here like that. Okay, so at this point we will get this transition over here like this. Okay, now what we can do over here is that let's hit Ctrl 0 and bring our shoe logo, shoe image over here, and let's try to bring this portion over here, and let's bring this downwards. Press F4 and we are going to choose alpha mask. So now if you see properly, we are gonna get something like this. Okay, over here. Now I'm going to select this transparent image, not transparent image but this shoe image, and initially let's go over here and press P for position to create one keyframe. then go somewhere around over here, and let's try to bring this from here to here. So what will happen is that I'm gonna get that little bit transition in this logo like this. Then after that, I'm going to select this PNG logo. Let's enable this, hit U, and we will delete all the keyframes. And let's try to bring this over here. And now in search option, search for linear wipe effect and double click to apply. And with the help of this effect, you can create this kind of animations, like revealing animations. So let's make this -90 first, and initially this value should be 100. Let's create one keyframe at transition complete, hit U, go somewhere around over here, and let's make this value 0, and let's bring this keyframe up to this. So what will happen is that after this animation we'll get this, and let's go to the 5 frames and let's move this over here like that, and let's increase the feathers so transition would be a little bit smoother. Okay, like that. So we'll get something like this. Okay, as you guys can see, we are getting this kind of stuff. Now after that, there should be some light animation on this, so I'm going to search for light sweep effect and light CC light sweep. So we'll get this. Let's try to bring this over here initially and create one keyframe at center, hit U. Let's go somewhere around over here and let's move this from here to here. Okay, so now we will get something like this, and it should be a little bit longer, so let's move this over here. Now along with that, there should be some zoom out effect on this logo. So let's go somewhere around at this point and right click new and create one null object. And with the help of open square bracket, I'll move this over here. Select this 3 layers and make it apparent with this null. Create one keyframe at scale. Then go somewhere around at this point and let's make this value 90 and hit N over here. So now if you hit play, we will get this animation, and then we will get this animation. Okay, and we will get this revealing animation over here. So as you guys can see, we are getting this kind of clean animation. Now don't forget to add one background layer, which is should be in white color, or you can choose a little bit of grayish color over there as well, and try to bring this at the bottom like this. So now if you see, we will get something like this. Okay, over here. And now press Ctrl K, and if you want this animation a little bit smoother, you can choose 59.4. So the frame rate is going to be a very smoother, and your animation will also look a little bit smoother like this.